Hello, so welcome back everybody. Today we're going to speak about entrepreneurship. This is a very generic term and a very confusing term for those people who do not study business from the basics. So I thought maybe this video would help them in understanding what entrepreneurship exactly is. So we're going to talk about who is, so why, so this is where the idea of the entrepreneurship actually comes from, and we're going to talk about the qualities of an entrepreneur, so how you can identify an entrepreneur, which is obviously not the same as exactly a businessman or a businesswoman. So to start with, who is an entrepreneur? So this is the person who is willing to take the financial risk of starting up a new business by bringing together all the resources for success. So what this basically means is this person is willing to give everything they have, including their finances, so including all the money they have, and all the effort that they can put into. So all the time and effort and money that they have, they will put together all those things together for the new business idea that they're thinking about. Now, if you might remember from my previous video, the 4 factors of production, enterprise was one of the factors of production. So enterprise was the business idea. So in this topic, we're talking about how an enterprise or how a business idea leads to generating an entrepreneur. So basically an entrepreneur is the person who is using that idea, who's utilizing their resources to build up on that idea and to create a business and to build that business one day to be successful. So an entrepreneur gives their everything to that one idea, to that one business, to be able to succeed in that field. Now you might think, well, this is the same as a businessman or a businesswoman. The terms are usually exchanged a lot. So usually people use entrepreneur to describe a businesswoman or man, and most of the times it's right, but generally they just use it without knowing who exactly an entrepreneur is. So today we're going to see the qualities of an entrepreneur, and then you may have after this a clear idea whether you should be calling someone an entrepreneur or not. So talking about the qualities, there are 6 qualities of an entrepreneur. So to start with, they are innovative. So entrepreneurs always think of something new. So they're always into the entire idea of innovation. They always want to come up with new ideas. Why? Because they know that that is exactly what makes them stand out in the market, not only for their customers, but also for their suppliers and also for other stakeholders. That could be their employees. So if the entrepreneur is doing something to actually come up with new ideas, is doing something to just make their business and their product stand out, obviously employees would be happy as well, and customers of course, and suppliers, because suppliers know and have faith in that business that is constantly coming up with new ideas. The second quality that we have for an entrepreneur is commitment and self-motivation. So it is not very easy to build up a new business and to make sure that it survives. So I don't know if you know, but statistics prove that almost 70% to 90% of the businesses fail within the first 3 years. So people give up. They don't know what to do next to help the business grow. Here's where this quality of an entrepreneur sort of stands out. So entrepreneurs need to be committed and need to be motivated. They need to motivate themselves. Most of the times, if a business is not going well, and obviously we all know that businesses initially face a huge amount of loss before actually starting to gain profits, and that phase where the business is facing losses, that's exactly where people start giving up, and people they cannot motivate themselves enough. So obviously when your business is facing a loss, your employees are already upset because they know that they may be, kicked out or fired very soon. The customers, they don't want to buy your products. The suppliers may not want to continue supplying you. The government is giving up on you because they know that you're not earning profits and you're actually creating more debts. And for the banks as well, same goes. Here's where an entrepreneur needs to motivate themselves, because obviously there's no one else who they can expect to get motivation from, and they need to be committed. They need to spend day and night in working the business out and making sure that everything is cohesive, that everything works, everything is coming together, and there's no missing piece of a puzzle, or the puzzle is not put together in a different form or different shape. They need to be committed. They need to know what exactly and how exactly things need to work out. So here's where another quality of an entrepreneur really stands out, which is commitment and self-motivation. Now, the third quality that we have is multi-skilled. So obviously when an entrepreneur thinks of a business idea and they want to set up a business, they may not have enough finances to hire the best specialists in the market for their business. So obviously we all know that every business sooner or later develops departments. So we need an HR department, we need a marketing department, a finance department. So initially businesses do not have those departments very clearly set out, and the business does not have highly qualified people working in each department. So the entrepreneur himself or herself needs to work on that. The entrepreneur needs to know everything about a business before actually jumping and starting up one, because they need to make sure that that their money covers up for the basic resources that they need to survive, and not the people. Now obviously the people do make the business, but here in this case, in the initial stage, the entrepreneur is the one who's actually leading everything, and they need to be multi-skilled because they need to know exactly how to manage everything in the business. And once they have managed it, and once the business has started to grow, then they can afford to employ as much people as they want. But initially the entrepreneur needs to know everything. They need to have a knowledge of a lot of things and be multi-skilled. So obviously entrepreneurs need to gain that knowledge. They don't need to sit and read books, but they just need to know. So they need to research a bit more. And research could be done maybe by looking at other businesses, by going to places and learning new things about that particular industry that they want to work in, and not just jump in and say, oh well, I have no clue about the clothing industry, but I just want to open a boutique, and the boutique is going to be the most stylish and classic boutique, but I have no idea about the clothes. I have no idea about the different textures and different types of materials that need to be used. They need to know. They need to be very, very specific and very, very knowledgeable in that area, because when they employ people later for the business, or when they even try and interact with the bank for a loan, or when they interact with the suppliers, they need to sound very professional and sound as if they're really into this business, and they can actually offer something to the party that they're talking to, so that be it the customers, the suppliers, or the banks for the loans, or anything as such. Now, the next quality that an entrepreneur has is self-confidence and the ability to bounce back. Now, this is very similar to commitment and self-motivation. However, it is slightly different. So remember how we were talking about businesses failing within the first 3 years. Now, here's where people give up, obviously. And it's not only about motivating yourself and trying to go on, but it's also about bouncing back. Now, what that means is basically being resilient. So what resilient means is you have the ability to learn from your mistakes and not give up. So say your business is facing a loss for 6 months straight, but you know that your business idea has a potential. You're not giving up. You will continue to work the way you are. You will stay committed and motivated, like the second quality says. However, you are confident. Not only with the way things will work, but with you believe in your own business idea, and you have learned from your mistakes. You will sit down, think what exactly is going wrong, and work on that problem. This is the time where you need to prove yourself. So if you fail, you're going to stand up and learn from it, and you're going to say, well, let's continue moving. They know that the path to success is not smooth. There are many hurdles that they need to cross and jump over, and they are ready for those hurdles. Even though their business idea is revolutionary, they know that initially it will be a hard thing to go through, that not everyone gets success within the first try or even within the first 10 tries. So they're very resilient in that sense. And they have to have that mindset. Now, the fifth quality is risk taker. Now, we all know that opening a business itself is very risky unless, you have something in mind that absolutely no one has in this entire world. And even then, it is quite of a big risk, because if no one has ever come up with it, you are sort of risking it, because you think, well, will this idea work then? Because no one's ever seen it. So will people be actually willing to buy your product and spend that money on that product? Because say your product is unique, so obviously you're going to charge a greater price for it. But initially you need to convince people that it is worth that price. So entrepreneurs are always taking a risk. Going back to the first quality, which was innovation, again, although entrepreneurs are always thinking of new ways to improve their product or coming up with new ideas, they know that that is a risk for their business as well. They know that, thinking of coming up with a completely new color for their product that has been in the market for years and now completely changing the color of the product can be a big risk. It can put down some customers, or either it can attract new customers. Now, I don't know if people have ever heard of the matcha Kit Kat. So Kit Kat, we all know, is brown. So the matcha Kit Kat is actually green. And there are videos out there of people reacting to it because they actually thought that the Kit Kat would look brown from as soon as they opened the packaging. They liked the idea of the Kit Kat having the matcha flavor, because obviously matcha is known to be healthy. However, they were very shook when they opened the packaging and saw that the Kit Kat was actually green. So that was a very big change that Kit Kat, as a multinational company, really necessarily didn't need to take. They didn't need to take that risk. They didn't need to adapt their product because they're already absolutely amazing. They have their market set. They know that whatever they're selling, people will buy it anyway. However, they still went ahead and took the risk, and voila, it worked. For some people, for some others it didn't. Does that mean that people who eat the brown Kit Kat would stop eating it just because the green one's in the market? No, absolutely not. But they definitely took the risk and created a new niche market for those people who really like that particular green ingredient, the matcha. So now Kit Kat sells to those customers as well. They took the risk and it worked, and it's very famous, especially in Asian countries, and they're selling. Now, I think hopefully, I don't know if you all know, but for example, Maltesers is not sold in China. So if Maltesers comes up with something innovative, and if they take a risk similar to what Kit Kat did, they might actually enter the Chinese market and start selling there. That will be a huge success for them if they take that risk. Now, talking about the last quality of an entrepreneur, that is leadership skills. So an entrepreneur is someone who leads by example, and there's a huge difference between a leader and a boss. So a leader is someone who teaches others, who leads them, who makes sure that their employees or whomever they're leading know exactly what they're doing and what the leader wants them to do. So by saying that, what I mean is, for example, if I'm working on a project and I need to teach my employees, I will sit down with them, I will explain the process to them, I would even show them how to do the initial steps, and then I will monitor them and motivate them. A boss, on the other hand, would just give clear instructions. Oh, please do this, this, and this. How you do it is not my problem. It just needs to be done on time. Now, that is the biggest difference between a leader and a boss. And an entrepreneur needs to be a leader. If an entrepreneur is opening up a business, is setting up a business, and wants to build it, wants to grow it, they need to make sure that they're actually motivating others in their company to reach that goal that they want to reach. So what the aim of the entrepreneur is, they need to communicate that long-term aim with their employees and make sure that the employees know exactly how to work in order to get there, in order to achieve that success. And for that, an entrepreneur needs to be a leader. He needs to hold everyone's hands, not literally of course, and take them with himself to that final goal. Now, does that mean that he needs to do all the work for those employees? Of course not. He's paying those employees, or maybe even not, because it's an initial business and you don't have employees. But whoever is working with you, you need to hold their hand and take them with you. You need to make sure that you're not just walking alone expecting everyone else to catch up and give you a successful empire. No, that's not going to happen. You need to lead by example. If you do it properly, others will learn from you, and then they will do the same, and they will help you reach to your goal. So that's one of the main qualities that an entrepreneur needs to have. So that's all for today's video. I hope this video was helpful and you have now a clear picture of the entire concept of entrepreneurship. Please leave your questions or suggestions in the comments box below, as I'll be more than willing to work on them. Thank you so much.